Hello and welcome to the Video Game Book Club. This month we read
Halo, The Fall of Reach by Eric Nyland.
the very first Halo book, and according to everyone I've talked to, the best. Because when we started this book club, Elise over here was like, I don't want to read any of those Halo books. And I was like, well, we're probably going to have to because there's like a billion of them.
Yeah, we're definitely...
She picked this one.
I did. I got it on Book Outlet because I love Book Outlet. We're not sponsored, but I buy books from them all the time. And so it was like $4. This is a thick boy.
Was it the longest one we've read? Maybe?
I think so. It's well over 400 pages. And
it was an 11-hour plus audiobook, which was, I think, the longest I've had to listen to something. Although, I have to say, I finished it very fast.
You finished it way faster than I did.
It took me 3 days of dedication, and I did it, and it wasn't that bad.
The chapters are pretty short, so I was reading about 5 chapters a day. The chapters are like 5 pages each.
The longest ones on the audiobook are like 30 minutes, which is not too bad. I think that's what kept me going, to be honest, because it's like, oh, the next one's like only 15 minutes. I can do that. And then I just kind of kept saying that until the book was done.
So this book, or at least the paperback edition, because it has copyright dates, but there's no way this book came out in 2001. So
yeah, that's the reprint one. It probably came out in 2001.
Or is that when? Oh, I don't know.
2001 was a long time ago.
The first Gallery Books trade paperback edition came out in 2019. But yeah, this is the Master Chief, aka John origin story. So he's 6 when this book starts.
It has nothing to do with the game Reach. In fact, everyone, like, I heard that this one like kind of goes against the game that they made, but they made the book first, so
the book came before the game? Oh no, the game series.
Yeah.
When did the first Halo game come out?
I don't actually know.
So we are a PlayStation family, or actually, I should say we are a Nintendo family.
We're not. Don't say that.
What? We started with the Nintendo,
I like my
and then
Sega
the Sega, and then the PlayStation. We never owned an Xbox.
2001 is when the first Halo came out. I have moved to Game Pass, and I've become more of an Xbox person because of Game Pass, mainly on PC, because I've become a PC person.
I almost became an Xbox person because for a long time, Tomb Raider was an Xbox exclusive.
It was for like 2 years, maybe, right?
And then they were like, no, just kidding. We're going to release it on every platform.
And so that's the ticket.
But Uncharted
is now too.
Was only and then recently they came out on PC, but they're not on Xbox, I don't think.
No, they're not on Xbox. Yeah. So PC is the best because you just get all of the games.
Yeah, you just have to wait a bit for some of them. But...
You have to wait like a year to 2 years, which by then the game will be fixed and completed. So I think that's a better deal.
So I'm gonna read.
Wait. Yeah. Which Halo did you play?
I don't even remember. So
you went to LAN parties too, right? Because our cousins would invite us to LAN parties.
Yeah, that's how I know.
Okay.
Halo, because they would set up different rooms with TVs, and then we would fight each other.
Oh yeah, I'd be like, they'd be like, who shot me? And it would be me, and I'd be like, oh, me. And then they'd come and they'd punch me in the arm, and I was like a kid. I was like, what the heck? So that's why I don't play multiplayer games anymore.
They also said it was cheating if you were looking at the screen above you. Or
it's hard not to. I'm sorry. Okay, it's hard not to screen peek. I guarantee they were screen peeking too. There's no way you have like super focus on your screen.
Yeah, no, and it's there.
Wear like a visor or something. So wait. I want to talk about me. Don't talk about the book yet.
Okay. Well, I don't have a lot of experience with Halo, which is why I was a little hesitant to read this, because while I do like science fiction, it's like science fiction like space battle, which I'm not into. So Savvy was like, well, we're definitely reading a Halo book.
We have to read a Halo book. There's so many of them. They're so legendary, and people say this is the best one. But when Infinite was coming out, I don't know, that was like 2 years ago, I decided to play through all of the Halo games, and by then I'd only played like 2. I think I played like Reach and ODST, the only ones that didn't have Master Chief in them as the main character. So then I went through the whole thing. I even played Halo Wars, which is the RTS one. I played all of them. And then the arcade machine. I went to our local arcade and I played the Halo arcade machine. I was set. I was ready to go for Infinite. And then Infinite was just okay. So I'm equipped. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, Savvy she takes her video games seriously and she does her research. So
I love playing
I do
through
not.
series, just like the whole thing in one freaking go. Although it can get rough sometimes.
Yeah, it's a lot of information all at once.
It is.
All right, we're ready for the back of the book now?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what's this book about?
This book, the 26th century, humanity has expanded beyond Earth's system to hundreds of planets that colonists now call home. But the United Earth Government and the United Nations Space Command, also will be referred to as UNSC throughout the entire book, are struggling to control this vast empire. After exhausting all strategies to keep seething colonial insurrections from exploding into a full-blown interplanetary civil war, the UNSC has one last hope. At the Office of Naval Intelligence, Dr. Catherine
Colonial.
Oni, yeah, that also, I was like, what does this all stand for? I guess I don't know if they introduced it at the beginning of the book.
Office of Naval Intelligence.
They wasn't paying attention.
In the book, they would bring up Oni, and then you'd be like, what? And then eventually they would say the whole
They would
name.
just say Reach. Yeah, and I was like, okay, I know where we're at. Dr. Catherine Halsey has been hard at work on a top secret program that could bring an end to the conflict.
To the conflict?
So these were originally made for the Civil War and not for the Covenant?
Yeah.
All right. And it starts with 75 children, among them a 6-year-old boy. They're all 6-year-old, named John. And Halsey could never guess that this child will eventually become the final hope. Yeah,
She did. She was like, he's my favorite. He's super hunky for a 6-year-old.
I will come visit only this child.
I will call him by his first name because we are BFFs. Me and the 6-year-old.
An even greater peril engulfing the galaxy, the inexorable confrontation with the theocratic military alliance of alien races known as the Covenant, although you don't know any of that in this book.
Well, they said that they had a hierarchy system and they talk about the prophets.
Yeah, but that's the name that they give them.
Well, yeah, they have like their own names, but who cares about their own names? They're hard to say.
This is the electrifying origin story of Spartan John 1. Is it 117 or 117? How they
117.
say it in the audiobook? Okay.
Well, no, he said it wrong. It's 117.
Okay, he said 117.
Yeah, sometimes. And I was like, what the heck, dude? That's weird. It's like when continue. I'll tell the story later.
I only have last sentence. The Master Chief, which again, they referred to him as the Master Chief in the book. Unless you're talking to him, then he's just Master Chief. And his legendary unstoppable heroism in leading the resistance against humanity's possible extinction. So this is usually the part where I ask, is this an accurate, but we've kind of interrupted several times to be like,
actually,
not really.
Not really. It's close enough though. It's kind of long-winded for what it was. I think it could have been a little shorter than that.
I would also say you meet the Covenant in the first chapter in the preface, and then they like go back in time. And
I thought, based on the games, that the Covenant kind of came by surprise. Like they were dealing with Civil War shit, and then all of a sudden the Covenant shows up. But in this book, they like know about them, kind of, at least not like a long time before they started attacking in Harvest, but like a
different
while.
Time periods. And so when each chapter starts with a military time,
did you keep track of the dates?
Yes, I did.
I didn't.
Date and year. And so some of a lot of it happens within the same couple of days, but then there's some time jumps.
Oh, I wanted to say, like the 117 thing, I ordered a drink from Disneyland and I called it 2319.
Instead of
20,319 instead of 2319.
Oh.
At the Pixar bar, and the guy was like, "What?" And then I was like, "This one," and he's like, 2319, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's embarrassing." Can I get the 20319, please? And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "This one." He's like, "Oh, you didn't even say it the way they did in the movie."
2,319.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Because that when you read it, it's
I guess I was like, oh, that's a weird.
Especially if you have anxiety about ordering things, which a lot of us have, then you're like constantly thinking about it. By the time the waiter comes to you, you're thinking about what you're going to order, and then I always forget about, and I have to make sure
point at it while I say
the menu is open, because otherwise, I'd be like, oh crap, what was I?
This one. Big Dum Dum ordered this one, please.
Like all the other books that we have read in the past, I read the print edition, which it's divided into, so it starts with a prologue, and then there's different sections, and then the chapters continue on throughout the book, so it doesn't restart. For the first several sections, there's a picture. I'm sure they're all probably a Master Chief. At the beginning of each section, you can tell it's the dark parts of the book. And then at the end, there is an adjunct, which basically has a bunch of documents that are from different time periods. They're like stuff that you would pick up in a game and few people would read. So there is a transcript, though, with an alien that talks to them, which gave some information of like why they're doing what they're doing, or at least.
Yeah, I think it's all Master Chief.
Yeah. And then the last couple sections, there's no picture, though, which I was like, they're not like super detailed pictures.
No,
they're kind of
not.
like screen grabs. So I don't know why the other sections
They look
didn't.
like cover art of game, but like they painted over it.
And you said he wrote this book in 7 weeks?
Yeah, I read on the Halo Wikipedia, so take it with a big grain.
Well,
of salt. Although Halo fans are pretty rampant,
So
they're pretty
forward-
intense about it. So I think they know what they're talking about.
The forward is by Frank O'Connor, and he mentions that he wrote this in a very short amount of time.
Reportedly finished in 7 weeks is what I wrote.
Which again, it's over 400 pages. That's pretty impressive for 7 weeks.
This also has an animated movie adaptation of this specific book that came with like a bundle if you bought a Halo game. So that was interesting to learn. I didn't watch it.
Maybe
someday.
our AV
club that we also do, by the way, if you don't watch those. Prequel to the first game. I already talked about that.
Yeah.
I already wrote when this book came out in 2001. My notes are on point. So as usual, I listened to the audiobook.
How was that for you?
So it's Todd McLaren, and he was okay. Okay,
Did you do fun voices?
He had like 3 voices. He
He
had
had his lady voice, which is probably
his lady voice was interesting because it wasn't that high.
yeah.
he
Sometimes the
had, like,
dudes
an
do like
old-
a softer voice for the women.
He had an old man voice for like the old commanders. He had like he sounded exactly like Keys from the game, so I had to look up if he was, but he wasn't. And when he did Master Chief, like when he was young, he had like a kid voice for him. But when he
Does he
became
do like a different voice when he's in the suit?
he did it when he was older.
Like a muffled.
He didn't do muffled, but he got really close to the mic when he was Master Chief, and I was like, "Whoa, buy me dinner first."
It's like an ASMR you were not ready for.
He stopped doing that after a while, but when Master Chief like first showed up, it was like, "Hey, shorty, I want to whisper in your ear," and I'm like, "Dang, not prepared." So my big beef with Todd here is that he pronounced Mjolnir. He pronounced it Mjolnir.
Oh.
And he did that throughout the book, and it was so irritating. And I was like, Mjolnir?
So for audiobooks, for me, that's a big pet peeve.
And they said that a lot, because that's their armor, which is it's a whole chapter.
There's a couple books where like the color is, they talk about mauve, but they pronounce it like mauve, and I'm like, what is happening? And it makes me feel crazy. Like, is that not how you say that word?
Yeah, nobody edits these guys. They just go off.
Yeah, who is your editor? Like,
they're just doing it in their closet. Like,
but someone else needs to listen to it.
Yeah,
to
but
make sure you're saying the things right. And they're like, I guess that's how you say that. I feel gaslighted sometimes when I'm.
I know that's not how you say.
That's not
Mjolnir. But it was so irritating.
Did he say Herodotus?
I was so actually. I think he said it right. I don't remember.
So in the AC Odyssey, every time they said Herodotus, they were like,
Herodotus.
Herodotus.
Well, that one I had to listen.
Pythagoras.
I had to have a robot read it to me because there wasn't any audiobook in America. Freaking Penguin, I'm coming for you. Why do you have only books available in the UK?
Yeah, it would be easier to just
do both.
Yeah.
Why are you
larger
doing this
market?
To me?
I'm wondering if it's available in the UK. Is that available in Canada then? Because Commonwealth countries.
I don't know. I couldn't find it. I tried really hard, and then I just gave up, and I got a robot to read it for me.
But this one does have an audio.
It does, and it's free on Spotify Premium, although it took up like almost all my credits because you only get 15 a month, I guess.
Yeah.
And this one was 11 hours, so. But yeah, that was nice. The next one isn't that we're reading, so bummer. I have to buy that. Oh, can't believe this. Okay, so we're gonna spoil this whole book for you. I might talk about Reach a little bit. I probably won't spoil Reach though, but we will spoil the fall of Reach. So
yes, the fall of Reach.
Yeah.
You ready?
Let's get into it. The prologue.
Prologue. It is 5 a.m. on February 12th, 2535. And it also tells you what like system you're in and if you're on a planet or on a ship. So we're in the
nice.
Lambda Serpents system. Jericho 7 Theater of Operations. I did not write the information down for everything. I just kind of wrote like Pillars of Autumn, which is the longest freaking ship name. But we'll get to that.
My favorite part about Halo is that there is a freighter ship named Savannah. And I really wanted a model of it, but it like explodes at the beginning of one of the
Maybe
games.
you just get a piece of it. Like the Berlin Wall.
I want it so bad.
So the 2535, I wanted to ask you, is this like a different game? Because we only enter 2535 in the prologue, really.
It's a good question. If this was part of a game.
Because basically...
But he's with his team, right? He's watching...
They're fighting the
this
Covenant.
Was before Jericho gets glassed.
Yes.
So
there's enemy contact. 4 Spartans covered the Chief's back. That you have this blue team, red team, because often they split.
I think this was
into two different
just
teams.
a mission that we didn't read about.
It is in part of the 2535 is part of the adjunct documents, but it throws you in. So if you're not familiar with Halo, you will be really lost in the prologue, and then
the prologue's for all those Halo heads out there.
It'll like drag you back in. But it was good that it mentioned the Banshees and that the fact that the Banshees are Covenant air support, because you meet the Banshees again later on in the book and they don't tell you that. So it's like a crash course on Covenant things like grunts. But you will meet them again way later in the book. So there's a blue team and a red team, and it's a mission. It's almost like a side mission, whatever, that you have to do. They gotta blow something up.
Yeah, they always gotta like plant explosives.
I feel like this was kind of like a capture the flag, be like who can do it first. So blue team, I think, is trying to cover red team, and red team's trying to sneak behind. And
plant.
But it doesn't really matter.
I mean, they kill a lot of grunts. They report in, and then the ship that they're reporting into is like, hey, you should retreat. It's too much. You should get out of there. So
Covenant's just blown up planet.
Yeah, they just go. I guess Master Chief's here, by the way. Yeah. They go back on the ship, and Master Chief's allowed on the bridge because he's a cool guy. He's always on. Like I have this thing. I was like, why is Master Chief on the bridge? He doesn't need to be here.
Because he's the head Spartan.
I guess, but like, there's some times where I'm like, why is he still here?
Yeah.
But anyway, he wanted to be here this time because
I think because everyone else is such a fanboy of him, where they're like, oh my god, that's Master Chief. So they're like, can we hang out?
Maybe.
Can I say that I've met you and then I know you?
Hang on the bridge, please. It makes me feel safe.
Can we get a picture?
So he's like, can I watch this time? And it's the planet getting glassed by the Covenant.
Which they talk about this way later in the book, but the fact that the Covenant is just trying to destroy the human race and they're just taking planets out. I'm like, why? It gets a little convoluted later on with like what their mission is and why they aren't just exploding everything. And that the fact that the human race actually has a chance against these Covenant, which at the beginning of the book really thinks that like they're so advanced that we don't even
too rough for us. We can't handle plasma, dude.
Yeah.
Once plasma shows up, we're like, I surrender. I can't handle it.
Can't do it.
Is that a squishy ship that shoots plasma? Oh my god, we're dead.
It's like we can only tell that it's a Covenant ship because of the irregularities in the space around it because they like can time travel
continuum.
or whatever.
Yeah. I think you can tell it's a Covenant ship by the way it looks.
Yeah.
If,
They're like,
it's very smooth and
picking up this disturbance in
kind of purple, you know?
the space-time continuum over there. Must be a Covenant ship, but they can like space jump.
Yeah. Well, can't we space jump? Can we not space jump?
I don't know. At least not in 2535.
All right.
All right. Anything else about the prologue?
No. It just throws you right into a fight, and then you watch a planet get glassed.
Yeah, it's at first I was like, "Who's the Covenant?" And then I was like, I had to go back and relearn about
Who's
Halo.
the Covenant?
I was like, I forgot everything about. The only thing I remember about Halo was Master Chief and the suits and like.
That's it.
Yeah,
You don't remember anything aliens?
No, I do not. And I get it. For some reason, I get it confused with Half-Life all the time.
Well, because they also have aliens, I
Yeah.
guess.
I
mean, he's in a suit, too.
It's like the same time
Gordon.
period where they were both out. They're both in suits fighting aliens.
Everyone loves Gordon. Everyone loves Master Chief. It makes sense.
So that is.
Although, for both first-person shooters, I can see that.
Section 1 is I Reveille. It is 4:30 in the morning on August 17th, 2517. So we're going back in time and we're in slipstream space. And we meet Lieutenant Junior Grade Jacob Keyes.
Jacob Keyes, very important, Jacob Keyes. You're going to hear from him a lot. He woke up from cryo sleep and he's like, ew, my lungs are full of mucus and it's gross.
And they're like, swallow that. It's
Yeah,
extra
'cause-
protein. They'll get that again at the end. It's so good.
It's like it pump your veins full of goo so that you stay in cryostasis. And it tastes like lemon barf or something.
Something like that.
I can't imagine. It tastes pretty good.
Yeah, so he was in cryo
Cherry flavored.
for 2 weeks.
And like Dr. Halsey's on the ship too.
Yeah.
And so is like the crew. Apparently you come out of cryo naked.
Well, that makes sense.
I know, but
Are you in goo?
no, it's like a
Is it like
frozen
the abyss
chamber
where you
thing.
have to like breathe in the oxygen thing?
You remember in Mass Effect when you had the little cryo area? Yeah, it's like that. It's like every fucking sci-fi thing is like we just go to bed and cryo sleep.
Well, in the Matrix, they're sitting in that goo stuff.
Yeah, they're in a nice little like bath.
Goo stack. His job is to protect Dr. Halsey at all cost, and for civilians, she sure is bossy.
Yeah, she made it clear that she's in charge here.
She's the smartest girl in the room always. Not just the girl, smartest person in the room always.
Yeah, so she basically tells Keyes that they're here to observe a child. And Keyes
Creepy.
is like, what's weird? Keyes warns about they're going to like a planet and he's like, this area in space is very dangerous. And she's like, I don't care. And then she just tells the ship what to do.
Yeah. She's like, you're here to protect me. Not...
Keyes is like, then why am I even here if you're just doing all the ship command stuff? And she's like, command wouldn't let me have a ship unless I had a UNSC captain on here or some.
So I read your record and you have a past, but you did not snitch on your commander. So.
You ain't no snitch, so I chose you. And that should be a warning right there. I'd be like, uh-oh, what's this lady up to?
Yeah. Keep your mouth shut. All right, so a little later on, we're at 11:30 on the same day. We're in the Uranus star system, and this is Elysium City. So in this, there's a lot of Greek references, and then they just mix it all together with some Viking stuff, and then
The things the big men like.
yeah. So Elysium is like the heavenly place you go if you're. It's like Valhalla.
Oh,
Yeah.
if I'm what?
If you're a good person and you go to Elysium, the fields of
Cool.
Elysium,
Elysium sounds
in Greek
cool.
mythology. So they're at Primary Education Facility 119.
They land to pick up the child.
They're looking for 117, who is the perfect subject.
They're pretending to be parents, looking at a school for their kid.
Like, honey, let me.
Yeah,
hold
she's
your
wearing like
arm."
a sun hat and like a dress, and she's like, "Oh, let's
But
pretend like
It doesn't matter because there's no adult supervision.
fake dating trope, fake marriage trope." Now
To spy on children.
I'm gonna bring you to meet my new child that I'm kidnapping.
This is the thing that I was just like, what is happening? They're just gonna kidnap all of these kids.
Just this is one. They find
There's like
117.
75 of them.
Yeah, they kidnapped 75 kids, but just this one from this place because
Yeah.
remember, John's like, I don't know anybody here. So they find the perfect boy, except he has gap teeth and freckles and he's dirty and rude.
Yeah, that is a direct quote. But he was also dirty and rude. They're playing King of the Hill, and John always wins, and so they're like wrestling.
He's too good at games because Halsey pulls him aside and is like, "Hey kid, can I talk to you for a minute in my van?"
Because there's only one adult, and some kid like has a bloody nose, so that adult had to take them to the nurse station. So all these other kids are unsupervised as these two strangers come onto campus. And
hey kid, I got a quarter. Yes. I got a quarter. You want to see this shiny quarter? And John's like, yeah, I do want to see that shiny quarter. And then goes.
Well, if you can guess whether it lands on heads or tails, you could win this shiny quarter. And John always wins.
It's funny because John's like, I can't play grab ball anymore because I win too much, and I can't play chess anymore. Or chess is boring.
He's 6, so he's like a kindergarten first grader, by the way.
Yeah.
And let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a first grader. And she's like, oh, so he wins the quarter, and she's like, oh, he's lucky. We can't test for luck. And she doesn't believe in luck, but that is a trait that she admires.
That he apparently is his like main thing. But what's crazy is like Master Chief's good at everything because as we will learn later, they're like he's also super strong. He's like one of the taller ones. He just passes everything, and I'm like, so he has no flaws is what I'm hearing. So why does he need the luck trait if he has no flaws to begin with?
No. It was a weird thing to put in there because it's like she says she doesn't believe in luck and we can't test for luck, but he's lucky.
She kind of tested for luck.
Yeah.
With heads or tails.
Yeah, 50-50 chance, kid.
Hey kid, what lottery number should I have?
What are you thinking for the Powerball number?
The Powerball numbers. Mm-hmm. And if I win, you get to go in the Spark program.
All right, so chapter 3, we are a couple months. So it is now 11 p.m. on September 23 of the same year, and we are on planet Reach. Reach is one of the largest UNSC's industrial bases, and we see an AI called Deja. And she looks like a Greek goddess.
She does.
Because AIs can take whatever form the AI chooses.
Except only dumb AI can, I guess. All the smart AI are just people.
They're like, that is the ultimate form.
It's because like it's smart AI, right? You're using somebody's brain.
Oh, so they're
that person. But all these dumb AI, which is kind of mean.
It could be like a mermaid.
I was like so jealous. I was like, what the heck? Why can't we have like mermaid little companions? And that's so stupid. Because in Halo, mostly I see just a guy, a girl, pretty nude. Because they're the smart ones.
So Deja is is that Halsey?
Halsey, yeah.
Okay. Like the singer?
Yeah, like the singer.
That's her AI, and so she's talking to her, and we find out that Keys knew too much, so she had him reassigned. But you say they have a kid?
They do have a kid.
They meet up later, I guess? Or
maybe they had sexy time then.
In the 2 months that they were together.
Man, looking at those kids made me want to have one so bad. Let's go, Keys.
I can have my own perfect kid.
I'm honestly surprised that she didn't have a kid and then submit them to this.
Yeah.
Like purposefully, like find like a really cool hot dude and like bang him just because she thinks she's like the smartest person.
Her intelligence and his physical features.
Yes. And then she's like, okay, I'm birthing this child, and then to clear my conscience, I'm submitting them into the Spartan program. Mm-hmm. That's my backstory for an OC if anyone wants it. Free game.
Because they don't mention her kid at all in this book, so.
No, but she's in 2, I think.
Yeah. So we find out that 75 kids are at Planet Reach. They have been conscripted. And these are 6-year-olds. They're all 6-year-olds. They have been kidnapped and conscripted into the UNSC special program Spartan 2. So she brings them in, and they're in like a little like lecture hall, and she's like, "Congratulations, kids!" And again, these are first graders.
I hated, so she basically is like, you're never gonna see your parents again and all that stuff. And like the room is stirring. John is giving her dead ass eye contact.
Each kid has a handler as well. And they're like having their hand on their, it's
75 people now know the secret, which is crazy. That's
150, at least 150 plus the 2 of them. So 152 people in one room.
And I hate this line because she's like, none of the kids cried, which means I picked correctly.
Or they're just
Little
shocked.
monsters.
I mean, they've also been kidnapped for this whole time, but
Yeah.
they don't give them time to really respond.
No, they throw them straight into section 2 boot.
Mm-hmm.
Straight to the boot. Now we're going to be in John's POV. No longer we're in Halsey's. So out of that psycho's brain.
So it is
Into
the
this one.
next morning. They're woken up at 5:30. Guards come in with electric batons to motivate these 6-year-olds. And they're like, go take a shower, get dressed, eat food. I'm like, these are first graders and you're having them get dressed on their own? Like,
Well, hurry up. They got to learn. They're going to fight.
all on their own.
I guess now would be rebels. They don't know about the Covenant yet.
And John gets electrocuted.
Because John's like, no.
Yeah. It's like, what? You kidnapped
So
us?
this is Officer Mendez, who we'll hear from a lot. Is like their main
Yes.
guy, PE teacher. Their main PE teacher. They're going to care a lot about him, but right now he's being super mean and electrocuting 6-year-olds.
So they get dressed and he tells them to stand in 3 lines and do 100 jumping jacks. And I don't know if you saw my note on this, but in first grade, like, you're lucky if you can count to 100 at the end. I think by the end of the school year, you're supposed to be able to count to
first grade?
120. That is one of the standards, is to count to 100. But that's at the end of the school year.
The only thing I remember from first grade is learning how to spell because. Because. This is how we spell because. I don't know if I could count to 100 in first grade.
By the end of the year, you're supposed to be able to count to 120. And so it's September, so it's the beginning of the school year for some of them, and they're like going to hit them if they don't count to 100. So
A lot of them are.
they are hitting kids. They're going to hit
kids.
them.
The kids are like throwing up
Yeah.
and stuff because it's a lot of jumping jacks.
After you do your 100 jumping jacks, then you run, and then they have school with Deja.
Yeah, teach them history, math, and physics, which she's basically only teaching them how previous battle.
However, she's a liar, because this came up before in the previous chapter where she was like, well, you could just lie to the kids. And Halsey's like, no, I will not lie to these kids. But she's talking about the Persian-Greco War, where the Spartans went against the Persians. And this is the second, because this is Xerxes, where the 300 led by Leonidas stand against tens of thousands of Persians and people that they've conscripted in their army. All 300 of those guys die.
So she's lying
And
to
yet
get the
she
kids.
says that they were victorious and that they survived.
Interesting.
And John steals crackers because he's hungry.
Yeah, he steals from his person next to him because they get crackers and juice or whatever.
They have a
Recess, which is an obstacle course.
yeah, and it's they have to ring the bell, but they're in teams of 3, and Martina says whoever comes in last, because John's like, well, what do I win? And he's like, well, whoever comes in last doesn't get
Dinner.
And how's that for some motivation? And so John's like, I got this. But you're in teams of 3, and all 3 of you have to ring the bell. But John doesn't care.
Yeah, John's not a team player right now. He's paired with Kelly and Tom.
Kelly 087 and Samuel 034.
Oh, Samuel? I thought it was Tom.
No, it's Sam.
Okay.
Because Kelly and Sam will be a figure in his
I'll just believe you. I wrote Tom.
Tom 1.
I don't know. I'm sure one of them's named Tom.
I'm sure it is too.
This guy's named John. Someone's named probably Daniel or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's popular names.
So what if are there any repeat names, do you think? Are there multiple Johns?
That's a good.
There's
that's a good
75
question.
kids. If everyone had a different name, because we
They
don't
all
hear
have-
any repeat names.
They all have different names. That was a requirement.
Yeah, they like can't have the same name, can't have the same number.
No, they renamed them. They had the same name.
So John runs through the obstacle course. He is like looking at the best way to get through it, and he rings the bell, and he's like, "Martinez, I'm first."
And he's like, "Yeah, you sure are." And then he writes it down. But sadly, his team, both Kelly and
Sam,
not Tom, are last.
they're last
They're
because
dead
they
last.
waited.
They don't know what to do. They needed help.
Yeah. And they were super pissed at John.
Understandably.
So Martinez is like, no dinner for you. And John's like, but I was first. And he's like, but that wasn't the point of the exercise.
Yeah. So their dinner is water.
Yeah, as they're watching everyone. And so John steals crackers the next day as they're learning about wolves. And they do it again. And they end up coming in third because John helps them. And at the end of the chapter, they're like, well, I guess we're friends now.
Besties. So they're friends.
So chapter 5, we are now in 2519. And this is about 1.5 years later. So they are about 8 years old now. And we're on Planet Reach still. And this is wilderness training.
Yeah, they're all 75 children about to be dropped in the wilderness. They're given a map and a mission to get to an extraction point, and the last one has to walk back
In the snow.
in the snow
Down a mountain.
1,000 miles
When I was your
It's cool.
age.
with their shoelaces.
They are all given like little parts of a map. And they have to put them together, but some of them are not real and some of them are duplicates. And so,
John's Mr. Teamwork now.
Yeah.
He believes in it. He's
I
like,
think-
no one's getting
doesn't
left behind.
he have Kelly like put the map together and
Yeah, they basically like all 75 of them figure it out.
John the whole time is like, no one's walking home.
John is the leader. They just decided that
I'm gonna find a way where no one goes home.
they go. I just have straight to the dropship.
So yeah, so they're walking together, and John the whole time is trying to find a way for them to be able to. I'm like, if you all enter, or at least if 2 people enter the ship at the same time at the end, then who's last?
Those 2 people. You think they're gonna do that? They're like both of you last.
But the thing is, whoever is the last person. But if you're
That means that John
people.
has to be the one that goes last.
So John decides that he's going to be the last one,
Yeah.
if anyone. They're at the rendezvous point, and they see men with batons. They're not wearing uniforms.
And so they think that's weird. So they're gonna come up with a plan to see if they're like legit. So they're gonna have Kelly run ahead to like get them and be like, "Come over here," and then they're gonna
Someone's going to
have
pretend to have a broken leg.
Sam is gonna pretend to be injured, and then they're gonna have all of the other kids in like the
with
bushes,
rocks and sticks.
and they're like, "Okay, so if they help Sam, then they're good guys, but if they try to hurt Sam, then we go in and we kill them."
Yeah.
So-
Did they kill these guys?
I think
it sounded
they
like it.
did. Because, Kelly's like, "Oh, let me go.
And she
Come
just-
over here, guys." And John hears them say, like, "There's one of them. Get our stun batons out."
Yeah.
So they crackle their stun batons, and then John's like, "Okay, they're not great." So he basically goes ahead and like warns the kids, like, "All right, get ready to throw rocks."
Yeah.
Because these dudes are like, "We're gonna kick this kid while he's down." So they throw rocks at him and hit him in the head, steal
they-
their stun batons.
And then they take the
They steal the ship.
they call Deja, and Deja drives it.
He's like, "Deja, teach me how to fly the Pelican." And she's like, I'll just put on
Yeah.
autopilot.
Yeah.
He's like,
You're not
"John,
old
this is
enough for
weird."
this?
"Hello, what's up?" And he's like, "Oh, bad people took the ship. We gotta go." And she's like,
Do you? So
okay.
he comes back and he talks to Martinez, and he was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if that was the point of the exercise, then we won. But I'm not sure
I think
if that
those
was
guys,
the exercise.
I think those guys weren't supposed to be that mean to those kids. I do think they hired them, but I don't think they expected them to beat the kids, Because Mendez is like, "Why'd you kill the men I assigned to watch
Yeah.
the ship?" And he's like, "Well, they were, they were planning on hurting us. One of us was down." And he's like, "Okay, well, that's weird." Anyway, Halsey's in there, I think, talking to them. And he's like, "What do I do about John? He stole a ship and killed guys." And she's like, "Make him friggin' team
Make him
leader."
squad leader. All right, chapter 6 is another time jump. We are now in 2525. It's been 6 years since the previous one, and now the kids are 14 years old. And we're still on Planet
But they
Reach.
look like they're 18.
So there's a transmission that needs decoding by Admiral Germani. They are drugging the kids, and there's a whole lot of information in this chapter, like sciencey stuff. So the Germani transmission tells Dr. Halsey that she can't experiment on bonobos anymore because they're expensive. So for those of you, bonobos are a type of monkey, and they are very similar to humans. They're kind of we're probably more similar to bonobos than we are to chimpanzees.
What about to pigs? Are we similar to pigs?
Well, we have
What about bananas?
was it 70% DNA is bananas? That's why we all love bananas.
Experiment on bananas now.
But I think what this was is she's not really experimenting on bonobos. She's actually experimenting on kids.
Yeah.
And bonobos is her cover. But yeah, they're giving them drugs to make their and so it goes into all the different drugs they're giving them and what the side effects are. Like, it strengthens your bones, but it will also give you a heart attack. And
they're like
it'll give you a growth
stretching
spurt,
you,
and it suppresses your sexual drive. But it may cause blindness, and you have
they give them better eyesight,
increase in reflexes, but it will also give you Parkinson's. So John at 14 now has the body of an 18-year-old and the mind of a naval honors graduate. So a mind of a 22-year-old.
But he's full of lies because he doesn't know any of these battles. So is it really?
Yeah. So we will find out in the next chapter how many survived this drug.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
But like, she goes and sees John because John's her favorite. Yeah. And he's like, how do I win this? And she's like, survive.
How to win? You have to survive. Because he sees everything as an exercise or a mission.
He's going to feel really bad that these kids died or got crippled.
Because he is the squad leader.
He's the squad leader.
He's responsible.
They picked the wrong time to make him squad leader because he really takes it to heart.
When does he have the conversation with Martinez about, is it chapter 7 when they talk about when people die? Like,
yeah, it's chapter 7. Okay. It's the next chapter. So chapter 7, they shoot the ashes of the dead Spartan kids from the enhancement experiments into space.
Yeah, so we're still in the same month, but we are about 21 days later. It says we commit the bodies of our fallen brothers to space, and so they're all standing there.
Some kids also got disabled.
Yeah,
they're still being used though, like in like intelligence stuff.
So out of the 75. 33 survived and 12 others survived, but were no longer soldiers. So they become tech support. So that means 30 kids died.
So John's limbs hurt. He's like more clumsy now because he's taller, and his eyes bleed. His eyes bleed in the morning. That can't be good. No. But he's okay, I guess.
He's like it's taken me a while to get there.
Yeah, so he talks to Mendez because he's like, I'm squad leader, and last mission was my responsibility, and a bunch of people died, so what did I do wrong? And he was like, you didn't do anything wrong. Duty comes before everything else.
Well, he also talks about there is lives sacrificed for the greater good, and there's lives wasted. Like, don't waste lives. And that will come up again and again with John, because he's always like, well, if someone has to die, it's better that it's for the cause. And then
he's brainwashed early on. Yeah. Then he goes to the gym.
So this is
why the ODSTs hate John. So there's like a running thing where ODSTs really hate specifically Master Chief, and it's because of this, which is interesting.
What is OTS?
ODST? Orbital Drop Shock Troopers.
Yeah. So John's at the gym. He's just trying to work out like gym bro.
He came there early. Nobody else is there. Everything in the gym is too easy. He's like, this gym is defective.
He's breaking stuff too.
Yeah, he's breaking stuff. I think he broke a pen in one of the weight things.
Yeah.
And so, like, the ODSTs come in, they kind of ignore John at first.
Until they found out that they broke
a pin for the weight thing, and then they get all weird about it. Like, God, what the hell, guys?
Jim,
like,
etiquette, bro.
Bro, the pen. And he's like, sorry, we'll just take a pen from something I'll put it in there. Yeah. And they're like, no! And then they start to try to fight him, but then a sergeant guy comes in, and he's like, wait, if you're going to fight, do it in the boxing arena. So ODSTs go surround John in the boxing arena, and of course John wins by killing. He kills.
Yeah, he severely injures or kills them.
Yeah, he breaks their necks and throws shit at them.
And then this ended up being a mission. So they brought these guys in to test
I
John.
don't think this was a mission.
I
I
think
really
this-
don't
I
think
have
this was a
that at
mission.
the end of my
Because you know what
notes.
happens? Mendez comes in and the sergeant's like, "Oh my god, he's one of those. He's one of those experimental ones." He's like, "Yeah, you need to go talk to Naval Intelligence now. You know too much, Sergeant." And the sergeant's like, "I just watched my guys die." So John is feeling weird about it because he's like, "Did I do something wrong? Because these are technically part of the UNSC guys, like, and
Yeah.
I killed them, but they attacked me."
He's like, why didn't you, like, what you showed restraint? He's like, but we're on the same.
And Mendez is like, "You're fine. You're okay." It's
So it says,
fine.
John knew this had to be some sort of mission. The chief had been too close for it to be coincidence. You engaged and neutralized a threat, Mendez replied. That action seemed to have answered your question, squad leader.
Is that why they were super weird about a pen?
Yeah.
Because they were told to go mess with specifically John.
So John says, I followed the chain of command. The sergeant told me to fight. I was threatened and in immediate danger. But there were still UNSC Special Forces, fellow soldiers. Mendez lowered his voice. Not every mission has a simple objectives or to come to a logical conclusion. Your priorities are to follow the orders in your chain of command and then to preserve your life and the lives of your team. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, so it was they're constantly testing him. So he thinks everything in his life is a mission.
Well, he
To
follows
win.
it. In fact, when he doesn't have a mission, he gets really antsy about it.
It's like, what's the mission, bro?
Where's the mission? I need the mission. Where's the mission? Tell me the mission.
What's the parameters of the mission?
Well, I mean, in all the games, he's like, if there's
He's
no
definitely
mission,
been conditioned.
if there's no mission, put me to sleep.
We do also find out later, because I asked you this question about, like, they're just kidnapping kids and no one cares, but they replace them with clones.
Yeah, replace them with clones.
And then, like, no one talks about it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like not a thing. It doesn't
Don't worry
matter.
about it. It's fine. They kind of gloss over it a lot in the series, and I think, I don't know, people criticize that, but
Also, why don't you just use the clones?
it's about fighting aliens. It's not about the ethics.
Clearly, Halsey has zero.
Clearly. So yeah, that's what happened in that chapter. I didn't realize it was a mission, but I guess that makes sense why the ODST got pissed.
Okay.
I feel like they walked in, they tried to find something to get pissed about, and then they're like, the pen's missing. Fuck you. We got it on something.
Go in the ring, dude.
Anyway, okay, chapter 8.
So chapter 8, we are still in 2525, but now we're in September, and we're still on Planet Reach. Spartans have to train at another facility because... So Halsey comes in, right? And she's like, where are the Spartans? And they're like, well, we've had some issues.
They keep killing their trainers.
Yes. So
they have to give the trainers suits.
They have to go to the
now.
exosuits. So they're in a different training facility. They've killed 3 trainers in hand-to-hand combat. And I'm like, after the first death, wouldn't you be like, bro, maybe this is not okay?
No one wants to work with these Spartans.
How many people have the Spartans killed who were on their
team? 3. How many of these ODSTs? Like 5 on accident. I bet they feel bad. Oh, I was too strong. Sorry.
So they are playing Capture the Flag, and they're also disabling the cameras. They have to keep putting cameras out there because
They don't
Spartans
tell
are
them
like,
to, but they just do it anyway.
and they want to, at the end of the chapter, they decide they're ready. They want to test them in a real combat.
Yeah, they want them deployed ASAP.
So we are now on, it's still September. This is chapter 9. We're on the UNSC Destroyer Pioneer mission. Insurgent base in Eridanus system?
Yeah. They're getting debriefed on a mission. They're going to a rebel base and they're capturing a rebel leader.
In 2513, an armed insurrection was suppressed by UNSC forces. This is Trebuchet. And so they have to get leader Colonel Robert Watts. They need to capture him unharmed.
John is now Petty Officer 3rd Class, and he gets to pick who he's bringing on this mission with him.
There's only 5. So Sam and Kelly, which is his team. Sam is the strongest. Kelly is the fastest. Then he chooses Linda and Fred. Fred always comes in second, but that's because he doesn't want the attention. And Linda is the quietest. She's also our sniper.
Yeah, she's good with guns. It's funny that you pick the guy who comes in second because he doesn't want to.
So he's good.
But he's like,
I
don't want
I'm
the
good at playing a
responsibility.
but John, I'll let you come in first.
Yeah, John, I'm gonna let you come in first, John. Maybe Fred's actually the hero here. Doesn't want the responsibility. All right.
You find out what happens to Fred. Actually, you find out what happens to all these people.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are now at the space dock. It's been a couple days.
What happens when you come in second?
This is where John is from. So this is from chapter 1.
Yeah.
It's like, this all seems familiar.
I know this place. So far so good. They took a shipment ship.
Oh. They find the colonel is they track
The luxury goods.
The luxury. So steak,
like
champagne, cigars. Mm-hmm. That's not normal. That must
For
be
like
for a colonel.
the amount of that you can't smoke on a ship, these guys are sure smoking on ships.
He's smokes the pipe.
All like in front of people. Like you're not allowed to. He's breaking the law, but he's like, whatever, I'm freaking Captain Keys.
They put on the uniforms of the people on the planet and they rendezvous in the locker room and they make a plan. They're tracking the shipment because they put a tracker on it, and they climb up 9 flights of double stairs, and then they have to climb up 3 extra more, and they're not making a sound. So these guys are in excellent shape.
Oh, we didn't do that. They're enhanced.
They climb up the 3 so they go up 9 flights of stairs, and then there's an elevator to go to the top. So they climb 3 floors using the elevator cables. And then I just have John gets shot, but they get the target.
So I have they sneak in, they take out all because they land their ship, they take out all like the dudes in the shipping area, and they switch to their black suits. They're no longer looking like civilians; they're looking like ninjas now. Then they get into the colonel's apartment, guns blazing. John gets shot. John chokes out their target. Kelly gives him some juice to make him sleep.
Oh yeah, they knock him out. So it's easier to carry.
She also gave John some healing foam. They put their target in a crate, switched outfits back to the disguises. Nobody seems to notice that, because he pulls the alarm, right? People are coming.
Yeah.
And then somehow all these people in, like, shipping containers and just come out with a crate, and they're like, oh, sorry, on my way. While, the alarms are blaring.
I do also they have to check on the box to make sure the guy's still alive.
Yeah. They also left a beacon at the base to tell everybody where this base is. Mm-hmm. They took the guy to the ship, and they got out of there. Chapter 11.
We are in November of the same year, so about 2 months later, now we're back on Planet Reach, and John got a Purple Heart because he was shot on... That's you get it if you're...
if you're injured.
Yeah, during a mission.
Your heart's
on
not
duty.
purple because he lost a lot of blood. Halsey and Admiral Stanforth come to talk to the Spartans.
His AI is Beowulf, who is a cloaked figure.
They talk about Harvest. Contact was lost in that system.
It's a crispy planet.
Everyone died at Harvest. Some weird
3
ship
million
blasted. All the ships that were sent to check on Harvest got attacked. An
object, yeah.
They tried to talk to the aliens, and they got a weird transmission, which was in English, which is spooky. And they're like, oh my gosh, they've been keeping track of us. Mm-hmm. They're speaking to us in... I'm assuming they said it in a bunch of different languages, probably. But they're speaking to us in our language. They call themselves the Covenant, and they're looking for a fight.
Yeah, they're going to wipe humanity off the face of the earth.
We also find out that Mendez is leaving. Yes. In bigger news, Mendez is leaving.
You don't really find out what the deal is with the Covenant, but in the adjunct, there is an interview with one of the Covenants, and they say because we're, unholy and dirty.
Yeah, it's because if we exist, we kind of ruin their whole religion, and so they want to wipe us out so that they can keep their little religious hierarchy. That's the real reason. But they're just going to pretend like we're unholy and uncool.
Yeah. So, like Savvy said, Mendez is leaving, and the quote is, John never saw him again.
Yeah.
And now we are on the frigate Commonwealth. The planet, is it Cheat?
Oh, they talked to Mendez about what to do if the enemy is too strong. And Mendez tells him to never surrender. And then he gives him a quarter.
He gives the quarter back. The quarter that he took from him when he came to the planet as a 6-year-old.
Yeah, so now
he's been holding on to that quarter for a long time.
Yeah. Okay, anyway.
All right, so chapter 12. It's still November of the same year. We're on the Commonwealth, which is a frigate on the planet. Is it Chai-Seti?
I don't know. I didn't write it down.
They have done a variety of missions in the last 3 weeks. There was a rebel faction on Jericho 8 So these are all like the side missions that you
Yeah,
completed.
they've been doing little missions.
Black Market Bazaar on Roosevelt Military Base. And they see a Covenant ship, and there's a race to Mjolnir.
They have to get Project Mjolnir.
Which they don't tell you what the project is at first, and you're like, okay, is it a base? Is it like what is like? It's a race to get there. So the Covenant ship's going up. They gotta get there first.
Yeah.
So now they are. It's still at the planet. They're at the training facility of Damascus, and we find out that Project Mjolnir are suits.
So like the Covenant energy shields are too much, so they gotta bring in the Mac gun. Oh my God! Return of the Macs once again. They're just giant. They're just giant guns. Don't worry about them.
They don't tell you what Mac stands for.
I mean, I could look it up if you want to.
No, they're just the big guns.
They're the big guns.
So yeah, Project Mjolnir is their suits so strong that they had to make soldiers who could wear them and not break.
Wow, you skipped the whole freaking ship fight, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I don't care about space.
Yeah, they got the ship spinning. Like they've been trying to shoot this Covenant ship, so they're actually in a ship fight right now.
Because they're on the Commonwealth. Yeah,
Halsey's
this was the least favorite part of this book is all of the galactic warfare.
We should leave, and the captain's like, hell no. And if you speak up again, Halsey, you're gonna get muzzled. And she's like, whoa, someone spoke back to me.
Yeah,
incredible.
Probably turned on by that.
So they shoot more and more Macs at it, and they're getting shot at. They're getting hit with plasma. The Covenant ships come in effects. They destroy one of the Mac guns. It's like, is it like the orbital Mac guns or is it our Mac guns? I can't tell.
No, I don't know.
They had to launch nukes, but the Covenant ship is fine. Like, they launched nukes at it, and it's fine. They back away slowly. And so they're like, okay, we're just going to quick drive-by drop Halsey and her children off to the facility holding the Mjolnir. So then chapter 13, they're at the facility.
And we find out that they're suits.
We see the AIs, and they're like cool mermaids, and apparently normal people can't wear this armor. Like, they tried to put on a Marine, and it just cracked his bones in half.
Yeah. So that's why they chose 75 kids to medically enhance. But it's like, instead of making armor to fit your soldiers, you're making soldiers to fit your armor.
Well, we're losing time now. The aliens are here. So John gets to try them first because he's Halsey's favorite, and you adapt to it pretty fast.
Yeah, they have to relearn how to move because doesn't he like break his wrist or something? Like something happens where he's like, "Oh dang,
it's
this
too
moves
fast,
so fast
and weird." And the captain calls and is like, "The Covenant is showing up." So,
but before that, she's like, you'll be okay because we've been subliminally training you in cryo these last couple weeks."
Oh, okay.
I'm like, why isn't it? So they matrix them by putting them in the virtual training thing while they slept. I'm like, everyone wants that kind of learning, that osmosis, where you
should have done that in the first
place. You listen to like a foreign language while you're sleeping and you automatically wake up. Like,
could have saved so much more Spartans if
we
we did like that.
Right.
So we're in chapter 14, driving a Pelican, and is like, permission to attack the Covenant. And Halsey's like, no. But eventually she is easy to convince.
So what his plan is they're gonna take Eva suits, which are you can be out in space with, and they are gonna like float into the Covenant ship.
Yeah, thruster pack onto the ship.
And they can get in while the ship is firing. So while the ship is firing lasers, it has to lower its shield, and so that's their time to get in. They take a bunch of Spartans with them, but only people with names make it. So I don't know how many they lost, but Sam, Kelly, and John, the Dream Team, they make it.
They enter a room full of, I think it's jackals.
Or was it grunts?
I think it's jackals.
They're 1.5 meters tall, so that is
maybe it's grunts. I don't know. But they said they were bird-like, and I don't consider grunts to look like birds. They kind of look more like turtles.
So what I pictured in my mind was the creatures from Men in Black that make the coffee, but those are too short because 1.5 meters is like 5 feet tall.
Then maybe they are grunts. I don't know. They came into a room. The guy described it poorly, because I couldn't tell what the heck is going on. They kill all of them. There's more in another room. They shoot at Sam.
Sam gets hit.
They kill
all
have
these little
aliens.
laser guns, and they ended up taking them.
in that room too. John grabs a remote thing off of that the aliens had. They had a weird
To
thing.
the shield.
Yeah, I don't know. He's like, oh, alien tech. Let me just take that. They found their ship crystal that's powering their ship because aliens, magic crystals. Plant explosives. John tells Sam to hold them off because Sam is not going to make it.
So Sam's suit was damaged, which means he cannot float out into space. And he tells Kelly, Kelly is like, no, we're not leaving you behind. And he's like, you can't take me out into space. And don't even think about giving me your suit.
Big hole in his chest. So
but he would die in space anyways.
He's like, I'm going to hold them off. You guys go. They managed to escape just in time. Looks like the Covenant could actually be beat by planting explosives on their crystals.
Blow up the thing. All right. So this is section 3. Sigma Octanus. And then on the page that has a picture on it, it says momentum. And we're at time jumping. It is 27 years later. Dang. So we are in 2552, which is where we will be for the rest of the book. John and company are now 41 years old.
Nice.
Not to move them up from their aging from 14 to 18. So I'm taking their actual years. So they could technically be older.
They're 41 years old, but they look like they're 51 years old.
They look like they're 45. So we are at Archimedes. It's July. I don't know if you care about that, but
very important.
So the next couple of chapters will be the same day. So Archimedes is an outpost, and we meet Ensign William Lovell.
Yeah, this guy was weird because I was like, do I need to know him? Yeah, you kind of do. He's
I'm disappointed he came back.
He's an interesting, weird side story that I don't know why we had to talk about, but he's kind of a slacker. We talk about Admiral.
He was just creeped me out because it's like he's talking about how he really wants to date a girl.
He only creeps you out because he may have sexually assaulted somebody, but we are unsure because we cannot read the Oni files. Anyway, they talk about Vice Admiral Cole, who got famous for fighting off the government at Harvest, and 2531. We'll talk about the Cole Protocol, which is very important for this next chapter.
And for kind of the rest of the book.
A law preventing the Covenant from finding out where humans are by scrubbing the data, killing yourself.
Yeah, so they don't want them to find Earth, because Earth is our home planet, and so anytime a Covenant ship comes, you have to purge all the files and possibly blow up your ship. And so he sees something coming and he's like, please don't be the Covenant. Please don't be the Covenant. Please don't be the... So he doesn't do the Cole Protocol, but he does
sees
notify
massive
someone.
Show up and he's like, I don't want to tell somebody and then get a lecture on how that was wrong. So I'm just going to send it to
he just logged it, but didn't send it to anyone.
And so, yeah, that's it. That's all he does.
And then later that day on the UNSC destroyer Iroquois, Jacob Keyes is now a commander. Iroquois is a new ship, and Keyes is sexist as hell.
Why?
Perhaps her lack of enthusiasm was merely battle fatigue. So he's talking about all the people on the deck, and he really likes this one dude.
Is the lack of enthusiasm sexist?
She's just doing her job, but because this one girl smiles too much, and so he's like, I don't like her. This other girl has a lack of enthusiasm. He's like, I don't like her. But
he likes them.
The dude on the ship, he's like, this guy has potential. I'm like,
he doesn't like
I hate you.
Jagger because he's a moody drunk and he's our navigator. But he's like, he says that one of the girls is trying too hard and one of them is not trying
enough.
Hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't like him.
So the news for you about the first game.
The thing that Lovell saw was a Covenant ship. In fact, it was 4 medium-sized ships. We have Sigma Octanus system is about to be attacked.
Get the Mac guns ready. Return of the Mac guns.
So it was not 4, but 2 frigates escorting a destroyer and carrier, and they are on a collision course with the destroyer Iroquois.
And Keyes is like, let's ram into it.
So chapter 17, we're still on the Iroquois. It's the 3rd time that he mentions that his ship does not have an AI. So I'm like, that has to be important. I thought they were going to hack into the Covenant was going to hack into the AI and take over ships, but no. It's just Keyes has to navigate on his own, and he's so smart.
Are they even that smart, the Covenant? I think there's just a lot of them, and they have plasma weapons, and we can't handle that.
No, I think it was the fact that they kept mentioning no AI is the fact that he couldn't.
He's annoyed. He's like, "Where's my AI?" Shit?
Yeah, he couldn't depend on an AI. He had to do this thing.
I use myself.
He ends up
Which
using
is the opposite of today, I guess.
He ends up using their Covenant weapons against them by doing this weird loop-de-loop thing that if you are on our Fable, here's another pitch. Fable is free. Savvy posted a picture of
Oh yeah, so he does this thing called a Keyes loop. And the way that Eric described it in the book, I have no idea what the hell he just did. So in the collector's edition of Reach, you can get Halsey's journal, and in it she wrote on a napkin how the Keyes loop is done.
So they shot these like plasma things at him. They're tracing them, and so he does this big loop so that the whatever they shot at him is following him, and then he ends up at the last minute.
And he like slingshots around the planet, and it's maybe I'm just a big dum-dum and you totally got it because you're a big smart. But I was like, I don't know what he just did, but he wins.
You didn't know if there was a plan. I think he just did maneuver where he ended up having it. So the whatever was shot at them is following his ship, and then he then lines up with the Covenant ship, and then at the last minute like ducks, and so
but he still has to shoot the smaller ships. I think he's having the smaller ship shoot at him. He slingshots around the planet, and then has to shoot the destroyer. And then. But if they have shields up, does it really matter? I don't know.
But because of
the aliens drop shipped onto the planet.
I'm like, what chapter?
It's still chapter 17.
Yeah, so, I got lost. Sorry. Everything looks the same. So 34 drop ships on the planet, so they're being invaded.
Keyes docks somewhere to get the ship repaired.
He like fucked up his ship.
Yeah, his ship.
Because they were shooting all at the bottom of it, so they're
he's keeping some of the damage to remind himself of how cool he was. Remind him of what a close call that was.
So Keyes is looking at Lovell's, which by the way, Lovell didn't do the Cole Protocol, although he should have. But yet Keyes is looking at his
he fired Jagger because he's a chicken. He basically was telling him to do stuff, and he's like, I don't know, sir. I don't want to do that. Yeah. I don't want to do that, sir. I don't want to die.
It sounded like they were going to run right into the Covenant ship and kill themselves.
Do it.
Lovell he's looking at his file, and then it was a weird thing where he has an incident with a civilian woman. There's no details in the file.
Other than it's one of the captain's daughters. It could be
one of the captain's daughters.
So, I took it as he dated a daughter, and like maybe they broke up, and so that I don't know, the dad was like, F you get to go be isolated on a base somewhere. He took it as he assaulted somebody.
Yes,
because she's a negative Nancy.
Well, also I would think that the colonel or whatever it was protecting his daughter, not having her name in the file. But there was still like a mark on Lovell's file. But Keyes is promoted to captain. Jaggers is out. And so Keyes is like, everyone deserves a second chance except for Jaggers. And
Jagger was on thin ice before that. This is Lovell like his fifth chance.
The Covenant are
you defending Jagger?
I just don't like Lovell or Keyes. So
I don't understand your beef with Keyes.
I don't like him.
He's not even that bad. What, because he says that he didn't like two women on his ship?
Yeah.
Well, he didn't even say he didn't like them. He just is like, I don't like that this one's trying to, or I don't like this.
This one smiles too much. This one smiles not at all. I hate them.
He's fine.
The Covenant are coming back with 10 ships, battle stations. Chapter 19, we're on the planet.
Ensign's weird. I don't like Ensign mainly because he's a weird character, and they're like, he's good at what he does, I guess, but he's also a slacker, but he's also like...
Level.
Yeah, Ensign level. He's also like, I guess they say he's handsome at some point, and I was like,
so
what?
He had he was involved early on with the Covenant, and then he decided, not for me. And so he started working below his title, and then they're like, let's promote him. I don't know. He did
weird. Something. So Keyes, he falls asleep. He wakes up to a message from Stanford saying, get your ship ready to fight the Covenant.
Chapter 19, we are on the planet.
Yeah. Wait. Did I see anything else? Stanforth comes in to congratulate Keys. Planet side, the entire city has been evacuated. So that's good. It's good stuff. Okay, chapter 19.
Yeah, so we're on the planet. Corporal Harland,
Marines are in a warthog.
private finder.
Surprise.
Yeah. This was weird. So yeah, they were put on a Corporal Harland and Private Venture were put on a mission, and then all of a sudden the Covenant showed up, and they're like, oh crap.
So the aliens are like destroying all these Marines and their Marine base. Like they go back to base, and the Marine, like the base is on fire.
Before that, though, on the mission that they were on, and this is only important because it comes up later, is that there's a waterfall and a grotto pool on the mission that they were on, and then you see stones that have geometric carvings on them, and those are the carvings that John later was like, oh, those look familiar. Oh. Yeah, that's the only reason why that's language. They come back to the base and there's nothing left. They're all dead. And then the Banshees show up, and I put, oh, remember the Banshees from the prologue? Because they're like Banshees. And I'm like,
so Marine HQ got hit, so did the hospital. They were like calling in for support, and they're like, it's already on its way, baby.
And Harlan is now in charge because he's the highest ranking person.
He's the only one there, and he's like, this sucks.
It's like, wait, what?
So here comes the Spartans. John is now Master Chief.
Master Chief comes down in a dropship. So next chapter, same
Marine
place.
Corporal Master recapped him on what's going on.
There are only 14 Marine regulars left. 400 are dead. And Master Chief's like, I'm in command.
We have a plan. We have blue team.
Like, thank God.
We have green team. We have red team. Blue team is John, Kelly, Fred, and James, and they are gonna go.
They have a nuke. They're gonna go blow something up.
And then the other teams are gonna go check on the other people.
There's like survivors and stuff that they have to. There's a new type of creature. It's human-sized. It's slug-like with tentacles, and it floats in the air.
It's the engineers,
and they are disassembling and reassembling cars.
I'm like, that's crazy.
I'm like, can I get one of those to like change my oil?
They record the footage. They're not even that hostile at first, so they're fine. They're just, their job is to just disassemble.
They're learning.
The Covenant took over the Natural History Museum, and everyone thought that was kind of weird. There are civilians that Red and Green Team have to deal with, and Blue Team is in charge of the nuke, and also exploring the Natural History Museum.
Yeah, because John's like, well, why this place? Why are they there? And so John's gonna go figure out what's going on besides just blowing up, and they have to wait for the civilians to be evacuated anyways. Because
so John doesn't like to sit around, so he's like, Natural History Museum, it is.
So chapter 21, we're on the Iroquois again. So they were on a ship, like a carrier, getting fixed up, but then the Covenant showed up, so they disembarked from this carrier, and they're like back in the fight.
The ship is like an okay shape.
Yeah, it's plugging away great, so slowly. Okay. Lovell is there apparently, but the same day. Like 13 hours after he's been there, he shows up on the ship.
They plan on macking on the Covenant.
Yeah.
They're going to mac the Covenant to death.
So Lovell is now flying the plane.
The Covenant took out a station. Keyes took out those Covenant, I guess. You see a stealth ship. They destroy it. Now the Covenant destroyer is heading straight for Keyes. They get an encrypted transmission. They have no idea what that means. They're like, this is weird. Send it to Oni. Now the Covenant are running away for some reason, and they're like, that's weird. Why are they doing that? We're gonna find out down in Master Chief territory in chapter 22.
Well, so they use the carrier, which is called the Cradle, as a like shield. So because it's a big flat thing, it turns to the side and it takes the hit, and all those crew die. So they sacrifice themselves to protect the fleet. There is a Covenant ship in orbit of the planet. There's a signal, and then they all start to leave. And then now we're back on the planet.
It's time to arm the nuke with Blue Team.
But the Master Chief is nosy as hell, and I like that.
He says he's supposed to gather intel, so he's like, "What? We might as well check out the museum." So
we find out that they're collecting rocks. More specifically, there's a piece of granite that has stuff in it.
They try to sneak into the national because they're like, there's too many Covenant in here. We have to like sneak a little bit. So there's a jackal that they found crushed.
Yeah, flattened.
And they were like, oh, that's weird. Who killed one of their own? So they continue on.
We have a new alien species.
And they find the hunters.
They're in a suit and they're super strong. They kick the crap out of them.
They're like little wormy guys in a suit.
Yeah, Master Chief is like, there's this big thing of pink quartz. They drop them in a hole and then they like drop the quartz on them and flatten them. Like they flattened the jackal.
Well, they didn't like kill them. They just like flattened them because they're still alive. So
it says mission completed at the end. You get this one in several chapters where it's just like mission completed. I'm like,
is it? That wasn't even a mission.
The next chapter, and I don't know because you weren't recording this for yours, but it says 5 a.m. on July 18th, and I was like, is that a typo? Because that's been the same day that we've been doing, and so
I don't know
because chapter 22 was 8:10 p.m. and then chapter 23 was 5 a.m.
I couldn't check. I ran out of Spotify hours.
I think that I think it's just a typo.
James gets injured in the hunter fight, by the way. And
yes,
the
but
hunters
he makes it.
were transmitting something to the ship that Keyes is fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Something about a rock.
So the rock was put into a laser and that information was being
the rock
shot up to the ship. Keyes has like a real issue with like, he's like, we didn't win. Look at all the people that died. And
well, they got all the civilians out before they nuked the city.
No, but he's talking about people in the space.
Oh.
He's like, this
20
is supposed to be a win.
Lots of people dead. Stanford got his win, though. Keyes gets secret orders. The spooks at Naval Intelligence wants to talk to Keyes and Stanford on Reach.
So they're heading back to Reach.
Although it looks like the Covenant put a tracker on Keyes' ship.
They put a Covenant tracker on them. Losers. Because they don't detect it. If they had an AI, maybe they would have detected something.
Maybe. Keyes was trying to say this whole time. Mm-hmm. So we're on Reach. John likes Reach. He's like, it's not a spaceship. It's open. It's safe here. I like it.
We also get that John is impressive in size and decoration because he's in a suit.
And everyone's still like, in a suit?
No, he's in like a his
suit
blue dress. Yeah.
Oh.
He's got all of his little like pins and stuff on.
He gets to learn all the secrets. He's the one Spartan that gets to learn all the secrets.
So John and Keyes meet again, and Keyes like, remember me? And it's like, it's been 25 years. And he
does not remember him. So Keyes comes out of the, it's not really a meeting. It's more like a getting yelled at thing by Oni. So Keyes comes out and is like, the top brass are pretty mad about how the last mission went down.
Yeah, your nuke destroyed all of the evidence, John.
Get ready for that. The council...
Keyes tells John winning isn't everything.
Yeah.
And that hurts John's feelings. He's like, I'll always win.
What was that quote where it was like, winning isn't everything. It's the only thing, is the full quote. Very John.
Very John. The granite thing that he collected had rubies in it?
Yeah, for some reason. The council asked John about the engineers and the hunters.
They asked him, like, did you see them interacting? And he's like, well, they stepped on one.
So kind of. He says also that the rock he took, the aliens were scanning it, and they're mad that they blew up the museum with all the evidence, and he said he was just following Oni's orders. And they were like, oh, how dare you? At us? He's dismissed, and he runs into Halsey.
So they do say that there's a new language in the messages, but they can't translate it at all.
Yeah. So Halsey's about to go get yelled at next. And she's like, hey, I have a mission for you.
Yeah. And now we're in section 4, which is Mjolnir. Or how does he say it?
Mjolnir.
And in the picture, it says Solidarity. Chapter 25. It is like a week later. And we're still on Planet Reach.
Halsey is looking into the data from the last mission. She thinks that weird rock those hunters were scanning is an artifact from a separate alien race that is not the Covenant.
Halsey's office is like the basement. She says that she's been buried in the castle, I think because she didn't give them...
They offered her a better spot once her Spartan program worked out, but she was like, no, I like the basement. It's hard for people to get to me down here.
And she's also has day-old coffee, and I was like, girl, don't drink that. It's got like mold and stuff in it.
Why do you think she's so crazy?
She's well preserved.
So Cortana's here now. She pops up to talk to Dr. Halsey about all of the classified info that she was rifling around in.
The Covenant may be using precursor tech. And then they keep talking about, oh, Project Mjolnir. I was like, I thought Mjolnir was the suits, but they keep thinking that there's a next stage to it, and so I
There
got
is a
really
next stage
confused
to
in
the
this.
suits because
Yeah.
they give him an upgraded suit at the end of the
Which
game.
has Cortana. So
Which has
Cortana
Cortana.
is a blue lavender AI. Smart, maybe too smart.
But smart AIs, they usually die after 7 years, or they go rampant, so they have to like kill them. That's the minds of smart AIs are from people who died, but Cortana is special because hers is a clone brain of Halsey.
she's got like 7 of them.
So Cortana is basically Dr. Halsey, and I stand by that. Cortana gets to pick which Spartan she wants to pick.
She's like John, and Halsey's like, no.
No, not my favorite. No, you
She's
can't
like,
pick
why
John.
do you think I chose him? I am you.
And she's like, well, he's handsome. And then Halsey's like, oh my God, if she thinks that he's handsome, that means I think he's handsome. That's so embarrassing for me.
At first she doesn't want her to have him, and then she's like, nah.
She wants to keep him all to herself.
And then
She also gets to pick the ship, and she picks the Pillar of Autumn.
and she picks Keys to be its captain.
Halsey picks Keys.
Yeah, Halsey does.
Halsey's like, pick my boyfriend. Since you already picked my other boyfriend, steal all my boyfriends.
I've known since he was 6.
She groomed him.
Oh, Halsey.
But she did, though.
Yes, and experimented on him
Yep.
to be the perfect soldier. Gross. So 2 days later, John is back in the amphitheater where he was told that he was going to be conscripted at the age of 6. They're over the years that all the other Spartans are in there, they've only lost 4 Spartans in the last decade. You
So
know,
they're doing pretty good.
not the 30 they lost in the drug trial.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
Covenant tried to invade and infiltrate the AI at Harvest. And Keys is smoking a pipe. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And we get the 4 phases of
You read on the weirdest information.
the things up.
Keys is smoking. Oh my God. Just all
Like,
caps. I
Why
cannot
is
believe
Keys
this.
smoking a pipe?
So
Like
Halsey
a pipe? Is this the future?
is
What's going on?
debriefing all remaining Spartans on their new mission and
I
the
did write down the
Covenant.
4 phases.
You want to go off on what the mission is?
So the mission, which to me sounded impossible.
Nothing's
Ready?
impossible.
The word itself says I'm possible.
That's above Master Chief's room.
Phase 1, disable a ship. So they're going to disable a Covenant ship, which they've been in a Covenant ship before and they blew it up. So
But they need to keep the ship around.
Phase 2, board the ship, neutralize the crew, crack the navigation database, and find the location of the homeworld. Phase 3, take captured ship to the homeworld. And then in phase 4, you're going to invade the homeworld, find their leadership, and then return them to Planet Reach.
You're kidnapping them, using them as a bargaining chip to negotiate
There's
a truce.
not that many Spartans left, and this seems impossible. They can't even like.
Well,
kill
they're
a
like,
bunch of
okay,
the
this is
Covenant
like a
ships.
death mission, so we can't force you to do this. So you have to volunteer, and then all of them volunteer to do it.
Because they're conditioned.
Well, actually, John did it first, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, if John's gonna do it, I don't want to be like the weak one out. Otherwise, I'll do it." Okay, chapter 27.
A couple days later, we are updating John's neural interface.
John went to the combat range. He got orders from Halsey. They strip him. They put weird, like, they update his neural interface, which sounds like they just
he was
spray him
naked
down.
for a while, and then she's like, "Let me show you the real Mjolnir, but first maybe put on this paper gown because you're gonna be walking around naked."
So they give him a new fancy suit, the real Mjolnir. This time with shields. Apparently the other ones didn't have shields, so that sucks for. That's probably why they all died.
Didn't they use the Covenant technology for the shields? Like similar.
I think so. They give him a tutorial and they give him Cortana. They pour liquid into his mind, but like in the game, it's like a flash drive.
Well, it's in
So-
the interface.
Yeah,
they have a
so
chip
you,
in their brain.
you like shove it in your brain. So I guess it feels like liquid is pouring into your brain when you have an AI talk
like
to
the
you.
blood-brain barrier gets more
Ugh,
juice.
ew. I can kind of like feel that when they said it. I was like, ew, gross. Brain bleed.
So this one, I was reading it. At first, it sounds like Cortana is in the suit, and I was like, "Oh, kinky." But no, she's in his head and in the suit because the suit is like a processor for her.
She's like talking in his ear.
Like in his brain.
Hey,
Right?
shorty, let me whisper in your ear.
Now you're never alone, John.
So they have to do an obstacle course while being shot at by ODSTs. And like they have to do a whole bunch. This is like a crazy obstacle course. And this chapter's insane.
Oh yeah, this was.
You have a lot of notes on
I
it?
don't. No, I don't. I have like.
All right,
two
here we
left.
go. So They're like, hey, we're gonna do an obstacle course. You have to reach the end of like capture the flag.
It's the ring the bell.
Ring the bell. Okay, so and see how Cortana and him work together in the new suit. So they're being shot at by ODSTs, and John's really good at killing those guys. So he takes them all out. They're using live rounds, by the way, but they warned them about that ahead of time.
Yeah. But it also says John could have killed them, but they were no immediate danger. So he
finds the
breaks their bones instead.
He is running past the ODSTs. He just broke their bones, and there's an obstacle. There's a minefield now, so he has to like.
He has to use Cortana. Cortana, she's like, find me one, and then I'll find like a pattern.
All the rest of them.
And then we'll minesweep you around here.
They do that, and then there's chain guns now.
But she's also like hacking into satellites and stuff.
Yeah, they're working very fast. They managed to like sidestep the chain guns, and then there's an air missile.
Yeah,
like a freaking ship shows up and like shoots a giant missile at them, and Master Chief slaps the missile. I cannot believe that dude slapped the missile. He was like, okay, Cortana, tell me when the missile's about to hit me. And then in the comic, because there's a comic of this, he elbows it, which is not as funny as the way I read it. It seems like he like backhanded
the missile. Yeah, because he has to move it off of its...
Because
like,
it's gonna,
targeting for a second.
it's targeting him, and it's never gonna get off of his tail. So he's like, "What if I slap it?" And then once you slap it, it like explodes next to him, and
which like damages his suit.
He's on the ground, like, and then he goes up and crawls and rings the bell.
And then that stops. But
Halsey's like, "Okay, he won. Okay, everyone stop now."
Yeah, but Cortana, girl keeps a grudge, man. She's super pissed about this training.
Well, yeah, because
they were
James
trying
Eckerson was trying to kill him and Cortana because he lost funding for his project, for Halsey's project. So he's actually a rival for Halsey. So he pettily tried to kill her best Spartan and her AI.
So in the next chapter, chapter 28, it's like a day. It's like a day later, and it says Cortana never rested. Well, she's an AI. We're on the ship of Autumn, or the Pillar of Autumn, which having to write that over and over and over.
Wait, you want to talk about what Cortana did
with the
funds?
What did she do with the funds?
So in order to seek revenge.
Oh no, that's in chapter 28.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you were going ahead. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So she's running the ship, the Pillar of Autumn, and again having to. I mean. Everything, all other ships is one word. Like, why is this one 3?
Because it's special. You're on the Pillar of Autumn in the first game.
Yeah. So as she's running the ship, she's also being nosy as hell, and she's like, "I'm gonna seek my revenge." And that's when I was like, "Wait, why is she trying to get revenge?"
Because she's a sassy little.
So Colonel Ackerson was the one that was trying to kill them with the ship and the bomb. So she hacks into his stuff and then has him send money to a brothel, and then sends emails and all this back stuff so it looks real, and sends it to his wife, make sure his wife gets the.
And then forges a request for his reassignment to the front lines. She also internet stalks John, trying to get information on him, and that's when she finds out that he was kidnapped and replaced with a Flash clone, and she's like, "Oh, that sucks. I will protect him forever." So that's what happened.
That's her revenge.
29. Keyes is checking out the Pillar of Autumn. It's really neato, I guess. All Spartans are already on board. No, sorry, sir. We already went on board. We could not wait for you.
Well, they're like, we couldn't send the request for us to be on board because then people would be listening. Because at first, Keyes is outside looking at he's on a shuttle checking out the ship. And it's supposed to be deceptive. So it looks like it's a damaged ship. But it's really not.
So they're going to move towards the edge of the system to make a slip space jump where they're going to the Covenant to get a Covenant ship. But then, oh no, it's Section 5, Reach.
Yeah, because we get what the crew didn't know were the stakes, is the quote from here. And then we find out Reach is under attack. There is no picture for Section 5 Reach, so no extra word.
You get a weird transmission in Chapter 30.
It is the, before Chapter 29, and I'm just like...
I don't understand.
I don't get this one
I just
either.
said weird transmission. It was between a guy named Coal Miner and something else.
Surgeon.
And I think, is it just about the before hours before Reach is breached?
So, well, I guess I put what the hell is the Corvette Circumference, and it had stealth upgrades, but don't they end up going on the Circumference to get the because
Oh, they do go on the
they
circumference.
didn't do the
The circumference is okay. Yeah, so that
they didn't do the Cole protocol.
yeah.
and
So this is about that ship that
Yeah.
that Master Chief has to go Cole Protocol on.
So maybe Corvette is a type of ship, and it's called the Circumference. And there was something
Yeah.
about stealth upgrades, but then
So this is what happened to the people on that ship, kind of, maybe.
I have no idea.
It's about that ship because that doesn't come into play for another couple chapters.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is happening?
I was like, wow.
Chapter 31, Officer McRobb is inspecting like the station on Reach.
So there's a remote sensing station that is covering Reach. There is a 3,200 kilometer diameter ship that's coming. So he's like, Cole protocol, purge everything.
Oh, wait. It says before that happens, because it's like nobody expected Reach to get attacked. Looks at title of book. Uh-oh. That was so immediate. Like, after he said that line, it was like, oh, Cole Protocol, there's 300 Covenant ships coming in. Woo. We've gotten found out, guys.
The big boys are coming.
Chapter 32.
Before that, though, so the Cole protocol is that you have to purge all of your databases, so they can't find Earth. And then, of course, the science library, which has all of their navigation things, is offline for upgrades. So someone has to go down there and physically destroy the science. And they're like, oh, we're not going to do it in time. And so at the end of chapter 31, did they self-destruct?
I think so, yeah.
Because it was kind of, they're like, we're not going to be able to do it. So the part of the Cole protocol, it seemed, it wasn't explicit, but it was implied.
Yeah, they blew themselves up. So, chapter 32, the Pillar of Autumn is moving somewhere else, and the Spartans are like, why is it's not going into the slip space thing? That's weird. So, John calls Cortana, but Keyes answers instead and is like, come to the briefing room, please.
I need to see you face to face. And I like how John's just like, we're all going to hear you.
Yeah. He's like, I just want to talk to you, John. He's like, yeah, the comms are
Unless
open.
we go in a different
We have
room,
a weird mind neural interface thing going on.
We hear really well.
So he's like, okay, fine. I guess all of the Spartans can hear this. So they say that the Covenant has found Reach, and they are canceling the Prophet mission in order to save Reach, which John's like, we can't cancel a mission.
Yeah, so what I have is that they're going to use the battle to take a ship.
Well, that's what John brings up. Yeah. Because they're like, we're straight up canceling. They said we're canceling this mission.
We have to protect Reach.
Because we have to protect Reach. We're switching priorities. And John's like, you can't cancel a mission. That means mission failed. We can't do that. A mission. So he's like, what if we do both?
But also, Keyes is worried because once John is off the ship, then John has Cortana. And so the ship doesn't have Cortana. I'm like, it's an AI. Why can't it be in two places at once?
Well, according to the freaking video game Reach, because in that one, apparently a piece of Cortana is missing, so she's in two places at once because she has to be with Master Chief in this, but in the game she's technically underground somewhere doing something else, which is why there is a conflicting thing about this, and the AIs get split into multiple versions. So I don't know, this is before they decided to make that game and do all that other stuff where they split AI up. So Chief's like, why not both? There's 300 ships, surely we can steal one of them. And Keyes is like, no, fine. Okay, you know what? If the opportunity comes up and we're very, very close to a Covenant ship, you can jump onto it and try to steal it, okay? Also, are you satisfied, Chief? And he's like, yeah, okay.
So the part of the 4-step mission is that they're going to kidnap the leadership so that they can negotiate a truce. A truce PD.
A truce PD. Please coming in. Don't attack us. Please.
So they need a truce between the two, and but I'm like, I don't feel like that's going to work at all.
No, it's not.
I don't know if Halsey is like just saying this, but there's another plan altogether.
Maybe. I don't know.
They're gonna.
I don't know what her plan is.
I have a feeling knowing Halsey is all scientific, that she's gonna find like something.
Apparently, right now,
dissect them and find something that can kill them all.
Trying to deal with Cortana fragments. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, chapter 33, Cortana is navigating the Pillar of Autumn through the battlefield. Lots of Mac guns are going on.
So they keep talking about the different types of ships. So a Seraph is a small ship. I don't care. There are a lot of Covenant ships, and they have a new weapon, which is a pulse laser. But isn't this the thing that destroys planets?
I don't know.
Because it's like a blue light.
All I have is the orbital supermax are doing a pretty good job of taking a good enough job taking out the Covenant. There's like a bunch of them, but it's kind of taking the attention of the Covenant, and so they take out 5 Mac guns and then they back off. So they're like, okay, they're gonna go after the generators, planet side of the Mac guns, because the Mac guns are doing pretty good, and they want to take those guys out. They also get a transmission about how the Covenant is on reach, killing everyone planet side, and there are 20 of, I think, UNSC ships alive right now.
Yeah, because they lost nearly 100 ships.
Yeah.
So we're still on the Pillar of Autumn. This is where the circumference comes in, and they're like, so the circumference didn't follow the Cole protocol, so they being the Covenant, could get the navigation data from them. So John takes Linda and James.
Yeah.
And they are going to...
Master Chief is like vibrating. He hasn't had a mission yet,
Yeah.
and he like really wants to. It feels
Put
like
me in, coach.
It feels like he like almost made this mission up.
So they're going to go to the circumference, and Fred is leading the other team. Although, was it? Oh, Kelly. Kelly's like, I'll lead the mission, Master Chief, and he's like, no, I'll lead the mission. Also, Fred is leading the other mission. Kelly, you suck.
Wow. The Spartans are set down. All the rest of the Spartans are on the planet to defend the generators, and so John, Linda, and James are going to go take out the circumference.
And now it's the Pelican dropship, which this one was really confusing to me. So Master Chief is on the dropship.
They crash land on Gamma Station, where the circumference ship is docked.
That's why I was like, I couldn't picture, like, I was like, did they crash into the circumference? Or
yeah,
like,
I honestly, I had to like look up other people's notes for a second, because I was like, what is happening right now? So yeah, they crash land on Gamma Station, where the circumference is docked. The elites show up. They fight them. Poor James.
James gets rocketed into space.
His thruster pack got hit by a needler and explodes, sending James flying uncontrollably into space. So John and Linda have to like explode the deck to get to the entrance of the deck where the circumference is on, because they crash land on the wrong deck.
There's so like hundreds of Covenant on the docking.
They have a fight scene with an elite, and they're like, we're too evenly matched. John does. But of course he wins, because he's Master Chief.
He destroys the nav data.
They get a call from Keyes saying,
is like,
5 minutes, please. 5 minutes.
Or we're blowing everything up.
We're coming to pick you up, okay?
Yeah, he's like, either you finish the mission or we're exploding it with you on it.
You know, Master Chief's gonna finish the mission.
Yeah. He's like, I already did, dude.
He's gonna
pick me up.
Finish the mission and give the Covenant back their bomb.
Back on the Pillar of Autumn.
There's only 13 Mac guns left.
But they are surprised by a bunch of incoming ships coming in their rear.
Yeah. They notice that the Covenant ships are vulnerable when they jump.
Yeah.
For like
their
a second.
shields have to be all done.
So all the ships coming to help defend the Mac guns are getting sniped, which is
like
not
a big ship.
Great. Keyes is like, we gotta take the ship out, the big ship.
I'm gonna need you to explain what the long sword and scepter is.
I have no idea. Keyes does a maneuver and takes out a Covenant flagship. I don't know what he did. He did it.
He's a Shiva warhead, so they power down, right, and they like drop. So that they power down so that they don't seem like they're a risk.
I see.
They
won't
sneak
show
by
up on the
and
trappers.
They drop a warhead on them.
The Spartans are on reach and they're not doing so well, and they're like, we might need to use nukes. Keyes tells them more Covenant ships are coming.
The orbital guns are at risk, and so if the orbital guns that are protecting the planet go out, then it's just like reaches over. Yeah. And they're like, Spartans, evacuate.
37, John and Linda run into Sergeant Johnson and his Marines. Mm-hmm. They were also fighting to wipe the data. They get into a Pelican and they shoot at the Covenant. He gives Linda the Pelican's like guns, and then John goes and destroys the data himself. Linda, she comes back and they're like, we gotta open the bay doors. And Linda's like, it's my turn. My turn to do it. So she goes to open the bay doors.
He shoots the crystal and we get another mission completed.
You get an achievement. So Linda goes to open the bay doors manually, but there's like some
Like
alien.
100, yeah.
Some alien behind her, and then she gets shot at in the front and the back.
Plasma.
And there's like 100 jackals and some elites everywhere. And she's down. John is like, no! And has to like pull her out of the wherever she's at.
So I think the Marines drag her on board.
They pull her inside the Pelican.
And everyone's on the Pelican. Then they take off and they dock on the Pillar of Autumn. She does not have a pulse. And
no, her vitals are... Well, she asked first. She's like, did we win?
Yeah.
And he's like... Yes,
I did it. Did we do it? He's like, we did it.
And then she's like, oh, mission completed.
And then her eyes
and she dies. So, but he immediately puts her in a cryo chamber so she might be resurrected, which, don't worry about it because she does get resurrected. I think you're supposed to, if you're the second player in the first game, you're supposed to be playing as Linda, even though you look like Master Chief. But I know she comes back in like 5, so don't worry, she's okay. Don't worry about Linda. She may have flatlined, but she comes back.
They froze her, so...
Master Chief goes to see keys.
They lost contact with the planet-side Spartans, so it seems like Master Chief is like the only Spartan left.
Yeah. And I guess Linda.
Yeah, he's like, so James is out in space. Can we check? And they're like, yeah.
They're like, beep, beep. Nope, he's not there.
He's like, well, that's a crappy way to die for a Spartan. And then we get the whole like lives wasted, life sacrificed.
I mean, James could still be alive. I don't ever remember hearing about him coming back, but you know what? It could.
Slowly losing oxygen. And
in book 107.
Well, if Linda's cryo-frozen, then being in space, doesn't that freeze you as well?
I guess. They lost contact with everyone on Reach, so they won't be picking them up, and Master Chief cannot get a dropship to go save them, and the Covenant are just going to glass the planet, so
they are going to leave so they can complete Halsey's mission.
Yeah, they're going to go actually do the mission.
So we are on section 6.
Oh, Master Chief also, like, weird symbols are on Cortana, and he's like, oh, I've seen those before, and she's like, you have?
Oh, that's the epilogue.
That's not the epilogue. That's actually at the end of chapter 37.
Oh.
Because it brings it up.
Yes.
Now we're on the epilogue.
Section 6 is called Halo. There's also no picture there. Then we're on the epilogue, which takes place at the same time and place as chapter 37. So this was unnecessary. They are being followed by 7 Covenant frigates.
They have to jump away from Earth according to the Cold Protocol.
So they're hyperspace in it.
That comment that Master Chief made last chapter made Cortana reinterpret the alien data and realizes that the artifact is actually a star chart with coordinates, and it leads us to...
She tells no one and puts the coordinates in the hyperdrive while they're all in
panic mode.
Well, no, they're sleeping. They're in cryo, and except for some of the engineers who are trying to fix their ship, and she's like, it's pointless. Most of the crew is in cryo. So Cortana ends up waking up Keys, and she's like, we'll be in normal space in 3 hours. And then he again has to swallow that gross stuff in his lungs. And then he gets dressed and comes to the deck, and they come out of hyperspace and see
Halo. They see Halo.
A ringed shaped structure that when they scan it, find out that it's someone made it.
Yeah.
It's gigantic.
And then you get to start the Halo Combat Evolved campaign.
But yeah, that's the end of that book.
That's the end of that book. That's it.
I felt like it ended abruptly.
I mean,
the fact that it was the fall of Reach is, I get it.
Opening of the first game. Yeah. So, I don't feel like it gives you that much insight to the first game, I guess. So it confuses you if you played Reach. Yeah. So it sucks because reading this, I was like, oh, they could have made a Reach game that works with this pretty well, like being down in there when the planet gets glassed. But they did some weird stuff with Cortana, and I think Reach is still probably the best one, but still it messes with the lore a lot. But funny thing about Halo is that everything's canon. The balls on these people to do that. Yeah. So
Eric Nyland, who wrote the book and has written a lot of Halo books, he wrote for Microsoft, so he's written for these games.
Yeah, and he messed it up because I know the next one's about the Flood, and I know that the backstory for the Flood sucks. Yeah, it sucks. I don't like it. I'm sad about it. In fact, I'm sad about the Reclaimer people too. you know? It could have been cooler. In my brain, I was like, wow, this is cool. And then all of a sudden I got the actual, they told me what these people were and what happened. And I was like, ew, that's bad. It's not cool. They should have kept it mysterious, but whatever. We have a billion Halo books. Nothing is mysterious. Everything is planned out and laid down for you. Would you be willing to read another Halo book?
Maybe if they weren't as long.
I have 2 shorter ones.
Yeah, because I feel like there was chapters in there that were really unnecessary, and there was a lot of space battles that I was like, I don't care.
It's true. The space battles were very confusing to me.
I don't care. I don't care what kind of ships they are. I don't care.
I don't know what kind of loop you just did, man, but congrats on your win.
All right, so next month we are reading
For the month of May, like Aunt May, it's Spider-Man Hostile Takeover by David Liss. It's the official prequel to the blockbuster action video game Spider-Man. I think it's called like Marvel Spider-Man is how they say the game name.
Yeah, because there's a lot of Spider-Man games.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the prequel to the first one.
So
that'll be
join us
interesting.
next month for
Spider-Man
some
book.
Spider-Man.
Bye.